There's two things I know about Britain. One is, if I say anything nasty about the National Health Service, I will be invited out of town. And the other is, if I say anything nasty about BBC, I will be accused of pimping for Sky. So I approach it this way. You've got the National Health Service. The National Health Service is a British icon. It came into existence when the country discovered the huge disparity in health care provision to rich and poor people after World War II as a result of physical examinations in recruitment. It is regarded by Britain, by a lot of British people, as having an integrating social function, a leveling social function that is very important to a cohesive society. So I start with it as it is. Then the question is, how do I fix it? Well, I would fix it by moving some of the cost of the provision to the user. So he thinks twice about canceling 4 appointments with a doctor, for instance. And I would tinker. I would not, and I say this as somebody who thinks the Obama model is even worse than yours because you have some constraints. I remember I had this conversation with Ed Balls, who tries to educate me on what he considers the ways of Britain. And he has a 100-vote majority in his seat, so he must represent the ways of Britain. He says Britain prefers queuing to rationing by price when it comes to health care. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. My impression is that he may well be right. So that what you've got to do is do what you started to do when it was, when Bevan resigned. Because you charged 50p, wasn't it, for specs? That's right. You're going to have to inch up on the problem. You're also going to have to introduce competition. You're going to have to give people options. I would prefer giving them vouchers, medical vouchers, and letting them go shop for health care. But, and I would move in that direction, bit by bit. So suddenly they wake up and there they are. You notice Michael Gove, what he's saying, you don't hear a word about vouchers, about education vouchers, but that's where he's going. So that's what I would do. I would not attack the system. It's like BBC. I mean, nobody I know watches BBC, but they all like it because it's there. They're all watching football on Sky, and then and paying for some very rich people to watch opera on BBC. So you know, my feeling is BBC has an iconic position in British society. If you want a really good night of ranting against America and Israel, you could tune on BBC News. And if Britain likes it, it should have it. I would be in favor of converting it gradually to a subscription service so that people who want to watch it pay for it. People who don't want to watch it don't pay for it. But I recognize that there is something to this water cooler effect, to the fact that people, you know, all watch me on Newsnight, and I think that's wonderful. So I would move gradually to change it. Well, first of all, I have to tell you what I think is the right response. I mean, I think that you need a credible, long-term plan to bring the deficit down to, I don't know, 3% of GDP. I don't think you can do that right away. I think what you're going to have is tight fiscal policy and loose monetary policy for a while. I think what I've heard so far, this sort of $6 billion reduction in waste and stuff, which will never be realized anyhow, it never is ridiculous. I think that they have a real problem because the fissure in the coalition will definitely be on who bears the burden of the reduction in spending or the increase in taxation. So my feeling is I would raise those taxes that do not produce, they do not reduce incentives to work. Now, there's a lot of long-term things I would do. I mean, Ian Duncan Smith is on the right track with the things he wants to do, but you ain't got the time, thanks to Greece. There isn't a lot of time to fix this. So I would suspect that they're going to have to cut spending quite a lot, freeze some salaries, which isn't cutting spending, by the way. It's cutting the increase in spending. I suspect they're going to have to raise VAT to something like 20%. You're going to have to pay the bill. The party's over, and somebody's presented the bill. And the question is, do they have the courage to present the bill? I think Gordon was on the right track when he said that we have to do this in a way that doesn't abort the recovery. Now, for him, that would mean that around the year 2300, we should begin addressing the deficit. But I think you've got to address it now. You've got to show that you mean business. You can't bring it down all at once. You have to have a credible plan for, let's call it the medium term, with the Ian Duncan Smith kind of thing, and Michael Gove for the long term. Then you'll probably, nevertheless, end up with a AA rating, which doesn't matter much.
Do you think that any government has broadly got it right?
Well, mine doesn't, certainly. I mean, we have you put numbers in columns, you couldn't tell America from Greece, except that we have a currency. And they don't. I think that one of the things is, I think the deficit will be brought under control, because if not, the bond vigilantes will take care of it. Or you will have huge inflation. You could do that. I think that in the end, let's say 5 years from now when I'm not invited back, one of the things that you will probably notice is that the deficit is coming under control, and the main reason is because you stayed out of the euro. You'll have a depreciated currency. You'll have a bit more inflation. You'll have slightly higher interest rates. You'll pay for it in growth that you thought you had before but wasn't real. You'll end up with an economy growing at 2% with higher interest rates, a little more inflation. A depreciated currency would be better for me. Look, I used to come here when you had the $2 pound. I've been here both, by the way, for the $1 pound and the $2 pound. I like the $1 pound a lot better. So I think that's, I don't know if it was Smith. It was a Smith who said, there's a lot of ruin in a great country.
Great deal of ruin in a nation.
There's a great deal of ruin in a nation. You have a great nation, so you have a great deal of ruin. And I admit the last government pushed the outer limits of that. I'm not satisfied that this government has the backbone to do. I would have rather seen a minority government go down in 8 months and come back with a mandate so that you don't have to bargain and save $6.5 billion and then give back $500 million on some crazy job training scheme for people who have been out of work for 3 generations. I mean, it's nutty. So I think these compromises are not a good thing. But I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not sure. They could, as long as you don't do electoral reform, this might just work out. Anyhow, thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it.